Hey YouTube. So, sorry this is very late for an update. But there were a few things that happened and I'll kind of go into detail on that. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. So today is the 4th of May, 2021, and I had surgery on April 2nd, 2021 to have my ileostomy placed. The surgery went well, no complications, and for those of you that may not know, your bowel, whenever it's disturbed in any type of way, no matter what kind of surgery, if it's abdominal and it gets moved or cut on or anything like that, it doesn't like that, so it tends to kind of seize up. So right after surgery, and this is normal, it tends to take some time, it's on its own schedule to wake up. So I was supposed to be in the hospital, they were guessing, for 2 to 3 days. I had my surgery and my bowel did not want to wake up in that time frame. So I did not go home that soon. I went in, like I said, on the 2nd, had surgery. I was out by that afternoon talking and walking myself to the bathroom and stuff like that with some help, because you've got the IV pole you have to drag around behind you, and just making sure that you don't fall and stuff, because you did just have anesthesia. You did just go under. So there's a degree of, concern there as far as that goes. But it did wake up, thankfully, and it took 5 days, I believe, total to wake up, so that I was having contents, stool, to pass into my ostomy bag. But I had to stay a few more days, like I said, 8 days total. I had to stay longer because when it first wakes up, you're not going to start eating solid foods. You're going to be on a liquid diet, soup, broth, Gatorade, drinks with electrolytes in it. While I'm telling you that, this is one of the best things I've found, because it actually tastes good. There's no sugar added, because sugar can be one of those things that kind of make things stay too loose. And they won't let you go home because that's a severe risk of dehydration. It happens very quickly. So you have to be able to have it thicken up in what they call applesauce. So it should be about an applesauce or porridge consistency. The colon is the part of your intestines that actually absorbs the moisture out of it. And when you don't use that part, like I don't, I just have my small intestine, the output is more loose. It's got more water in it. So you have to make sure it's a right consistency, which is about it's about applesauce. So I finally achieved that and was able to maintain it with the use of Metamucil. And I kind of laughed about that because you think old people take that, but that's not just the case. So taking that, actually a double dose twice a day, morning and evenings, and I was able to maintain it. They released me to go home. I started eating solid foods right before I left the hospital. And when I say solid, I mean bland, soft, easy to chew, or either basically like pudding where you don't have to chew it. So it was not the most fun because you're starving. You haven't eaten anything but liquids. And now, granted, I did not have an appetite immediately. Like when I was having to drink soup, broth, and stuff, that was the first few things I was allowed to consume. That wasn't sips of water or ice chips. And I didn't have any appetite. It was hard for me to put it down because, one, it's not that appetizing and it's hospital food, so it's extra not appetizing. But two, you just had a pretty important surgery. It's messed with a lot of things. You had anesthesia, you've got a lot going on, there's pain. It was completely manageable without having to take any severe pain medications, because those, as you know, can slow your system down. And what we want it to do is work, but in a way that you keep an applesauce consistency to your output so that you don't become dehydrated. Now, on the other hand, you can still become constipated, but it's not really constipation that you have to worry about. It's a blockage. So with that being said, I was still taking my Metamucil once I went home, as I was directed to do. But I started eating more foods because the hospital's limited. I was eating mashed potatoes. I was eating chicken. You have to chew slowly and very thoroughly and not eat a bunch at one time. And so I achieved the right consistency with my output without the need of Metamucil, but I was still taking it because I was directed to. So it actually my output became too thick, and I actually did get a blockage. And let me tell you, that was worse than recovering from the surgery itself. I looked 15 months pregnant. Your belly swells. It's very painful. I reopened my wounds because I had my surgery laparoscopically. So they have port wounds, is what I've been calling them, where they put like on the side, I had 2 of them, and then I have my ileostomy on the other side. So they reopened, and I mean, they've recovered fine and managed. It was very painful. Had to go to the ER. My local ER, because actually where I had the surgery is about 2.5 hours away from me, and I had to be transferred by ambulance back to the hospital and the surgeon that did the surgery, because the people at my local ER, 1, don't know what they're doing, and 2, Charleston wanted to handle it and take care of me, which was really truly for the best. If I'd have known I'd end up going there, I would have just made the drive anyway. I was in a lot of pain, so I was home for 4 days. The 4th day is when I went to the ER with the blockage. Actually, my local ER denied that it was a blockage, even though the CT scan and the x-ray both confirmed it, which is another reason why I'm really glad I went back to Charleston, where they know what they're doing and I trust them. So anyway, that wasn't fun. I had to get an NG tube. For those of you who don't know, nasogastric, it goes in through your nose, one side, down your throat, down your esophagus, and into your stomach. And it hurts. It is very unpleasant. I will do everything I can to make sure I don't do that again. And when I say I would have rather had this surgery all over again than dealt with that tube, I mean it. I'm not even exaggerating. It was horrible. And you can't really take any pain meds if you're like me, because my throat was so sore from that tube that breathing hurt, swallowing hurt, and I definitely couldn't swallow a pill. So if you're going to get any medications, it's got to be where it can go in the IV, or it's got to be able to go down the NG tube. The NG tube is draining and sucking the blockage out. That's what the purpose of that is. And you can stop it, you flush it, the nurses will flush it, put the medicine down the tube, flush it again, leave suction off for about 45 minutes so the medicine has time to get into your system, and then they will turn suction back on so it can get to removing the blockage again. I had the NG tube for a total of about 2 days, and when I say I cried when they took it out, it was because of relief. You gag. I have a very sensitive gag reflex anyway, and it was not pleasant, but the pain was really my biggest complaint. But it's done, it's over with, and it was relatively simple. You just have to deal with the pain of the tube in your throat, and it takes care of itself. It sucks it out. Then you won't be allowed to eat or drink even water or anything for a while. They did ice chips for me. I would take sips of water with pills once the tube was out so I could take my medicine that I needed. And I have not been back on the Metamucil since, except for one time in the hospital whenever things started back up again, and I was still only consuming liquids, so of course it was going to be nothing but liquids for my output. Took the Metamucil, got it back to consistency. I was released. I was there for a total, that was Thursday. I was released on Monday. So yesterday made 2 weeks since I've been home and haven't had to go back to the hospital, and I don't plan to. I have had my follow-up since. That was on this past Thursday of last week, and it was great. I was cleared to drive again. I was cleared to resume back working. I'll be working from home starting tomorrow, and then 2 weeks after that, I'll go back into my office. Sorry, I look kind of crazy, but I was just out walking. So walking is a really important thing. It helps keep your bowel moving, and you need to get your strength back. Because let me tell you, after you have this surgery and you're not eating a lot of protein and things that give you energy because you're recovering, you lose a lot of your strength. I'm still getting it back. So I walk each day. I try to walk a little bit further, a little bit longer each day than I did the day before. And sometimes it rains, so I don't walk very much because my house isn't that long. So I'd basically be walking in circles in my living room, and nobody wants to do that. So, but I would have to say I am absolutely still 100% glad I got the surgery. My life is still better, even with those complications. I am not going through the struggles I had due to colonic inertia. I'm not in pain constantly. I'm not in any pain at all right now. The only grief I have right now is trying to figure out which products, like the ostomy bags and the wafers and the stoma powder and the barrier adhesives, whether you want the paste or the ring and etc. We're just still figuring out. Me and my home health nurse, which she's amazing, by the way. I definitely recommend, if you have the option to have home health, you take it. Don't decline it. I know you think it's a pain, like somebody's going to be coming in my house. I already don't feel like moving. I'm recovering from surgery. Do it. They don't stay that long. They make sure you're okay. And I promise you're going to end up having questions once you go home that they can easily answer, because if you're like me, I couldn't get in touch with my doctor as quickly as sometimes I wanted to, because they're busy. They have other patients. I understand that. But anyway, so yes, get the surgery. It changes your life for the better. Once my swelling completely goes down, it's already gone down a lot. It's not totally gone, but that's pretty normal. Everybody kind of does it at their own rate. About 6 to 8 weeks, they say, is about normal. It's gone down a whole bunch. I did lose a total of 21 pounds from start to finish from the surgery until now. I have gained 1 pound back. But your diet's limited. I'm still on the low fiber diet, so I can only have 3 grams of fiber per meal, and you're supposed to eat 6 to 7 meals a day, just smaller portions. You don't want to overload your bowel, because 1, it just had surgery. It needs time to recover. 2, it's swollen, so the inside diameter is a lot more restricted, so you definitely don't want a blockage. I can promise you. I'm speaking from experience. So soft things, canned green beans, canned sweet peas, those are my safety nets, I guess you could say. You get tired of eating, I'm sure. But one day when you recover, you'll be back to either almost your previous diet, if not even better, because there were a lot of things that I couldn't tolerate and eat before that I can tolerate now, like cheese. I could not do cheese. And I love cheese. Everyone loves cheese. Who doesn't want to go to a Mexican restaurant and have some queso dip? Well, I couldn't do that. So now I can. I just can't do my spinach and artichoke dip yet, because you're not supposed to have spinach yet. But 1, because of the fiber content, and 2, roughage, like fresh leafy vegetables, salads, fresh vegetables and fruit that have any seeds, peeling, all of that is too much fiber, and it's too much for your body to break down right after surgery. You don't want a blockage, I am telling you. And it gets kind of boring. I feel like I'm eating this. I feel like I'm eating chicken and potatoes constantly. So I'm trying to figure out how much weight I'm actually going to gain back and go past my previous pre-surgery weight. But so far, it's not happening like that, thankfully. I am doing a lot of the body armor that I showed y'all a minute ago. I do the peach mango flavor. It's no sugar, and it's got potassium and an electrolyte blend in it, which helps you replace the water that you're losing. Also, over time, the small bowel will adapt and start absorbing a little bit more water. It just takes time for it to basically realize it's doing the whole job instead of just the first part of the job now. It's not bad, though. You got to figure out what products work for you. That can get a little frustrating at times. You try something and it doesn't work. It's annoying at worst. If you have skin breakdown and skin problems because you don't tolerate some of the products, like there was a paste we tried that I broke out to, so there was some skin pain and irritation from that, but it was a stinging at worst. It can definitely get worse. I never had open, broken skin. It was just irritated on the surface. So we have since solved that, and I'm thankful. And it's just kind of learning your new normal, because let me tell you, aside from the fact that I can't lift over 10 pounds yet, and my diet is restricted to an extent, I can still eat a lot of things. Potato soup was a favorite because you could add chicken to it, and you can add soft carrots, like canned carrots, different things like that. You can totally do. Canned fruits and vegetables that are soft are good, except for pineapple. Pineapple, they just recommend not doing that until you're good to go. Way after the swelling has gone down and you've tried introducing other things first. Pineapple is just really harsh. which sucks because that's my favorite fruit and I do miss it already. It's just harder to digest. It's more fibrous, like steak. Which is easier to eat? Easier to chew a piece of chicken or a piece of steak? I know steak is not hard to chew if it's cooked right, but it's still a tougher, more fibrous meat. So for that, I'm gonna go with chicken. I did have pulled pork barbecue. I ate 3 bites of it because I was afraid and I had just gotten out of the hospital for the blockage. I didn't eat any more than that. It tasted delicious. I have missed food. Especially not eating anything except for the last 24 hours before I got released. It was NPO, nothing by mouth. I'd say the only other kind of issue I've had is I have a little bit of trouble falling asleep. Once I'm asleep, I'm fine. You can talk to your doctor about different things to do for that, like I did. I'm not going to tell you what I use because we're all different and doctors have differing opinions. But basically, it's the same ingredient that's in Benadryl. I will tell you that if you get a headache and you're used to just popping an ibuprofen like I am, you can't do that anymore. Those coated pills and those delayed release capsules and stuff like that, they're going to go right through you before they ever get digested. Those are broken down and absorbed in the colon. So if you have an ileostomy, you don't have that option anymore. So that was something they told me and I understood it. But I still took a few ibuprofen for headache and going, why am I not kicking this headache? And then I'd look in my bag whenever I went to empty it. It's like, right, I knew that. I knew better. But I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but there was just a lot that happened. And this update is super, super delayed. But there was a lot going on. And I wanted to be able to kind of give you a full circle of what you can expect, how it happened for me, and everybody won't have this experience. Everybody's different. Your bowel might wake up immediately after surgery. It can take up to 2 weeks for some people. It's taken, they did tell me there was one person that they've had before that took a whole month to wake up, so they had to stay in the hospital that entire time. Let me tell you, I'm thankful that it woke up within a week, because that's pretty miserable. I did have a few times where my liquids would come back up and would not stay because my intestines weren't ready yet. They just weren't ready to wake up. So if it's not going to go all the way through, it's got to come back out somehow. The hospital's prepared. The nurses know what to do. They are your best friends. Make friends with them. Communicate with them openly. If you're in pain, tell them you're in pain. But be realistic about it. Don't, oh, I'm dying, and your pain's really like a 7. 7 and 10 are very different. They're both not great, obviously, but they're very different. Just try to be open, communicate. Anything you're feeling that's kind of weird, definitely say something, because chances are it's normal, but maybe there's something that can be done to make you more comfortable. I'll give you an example. Right after surgery, and I've had other people, kind of say the same thing in ostomy groups or ostomate groups. For me and for some other people, and I'm sure it's kind of the same for everybody, your bowel has been separated from where it was stuck to, where it was, attached to your abdominal wall, where it's secure. It's had to have been moved from that. Some strings have been cut, and there's a little bit wiggle room, literally. So I am a side and stomach sleeper predominantly. That is not happening right after surgery, or at least I couldn't tolerate it, because one, you have open wounds in your stomach, so stomach sleeping's kind of out. Now, once you recover, you can do that again, but you have to do some kind of modifications. So like tucking a pillow underneath one leg, especially the side that your ileostomy or your colostomy's on. That way, the bag still has room for your output to go into. But you do run the risk of leaks, because if you do happen to roll around in your sleep, that pillow gets moved, you're squishing that bag that may or may not already have output in it, and that cannot be pretty. It hasn't happened to me, I'm thankful. I have started sleeping back on my sides, and it is so much better. I am sleeping better. So I really think my sleeping issues were caused by, I just wasn't sleeping the way I was comfortable. I wasn't sleeping the way I'm used to. But now that I am, it's going a lot better. So anyway, back to what I was saying. The best way I can describe the feeling of trying to sleep on your side or moving side to side when you're getting up out of the hospital bed to go to the bathroom or whatever, the best way I can describe it is it feels like a bowl of spaghetti has just been dumped upside down in your stomach and it's just moving around in there side to side as you move. It's uncomfortable. It puts a lot of pressure in places. It doesn't hurt per se, or it didn't really hurt me. It just felt wrong. Like, okay, nope, don't want to do that. I just cannot stand it. It's kind of like if you cross your second toe over your big toe by accident and that ucky, this is wrong kind of feeling. It's kind of like that. But that is gone. It's healed. I am a month and 2 days post-surgery. So I am doing well, if I do say so myself. I'm walking, I'm eating frequent small meals throughout the day, making sure I'm staying hydrated. I have my electrolyte drinks. I'm also drinking water a lot. And don't get me wrong, I'm still drinking my sweet tea. I still on occasion have a Coke when I want it. I'm just more of a water sweet tea kind of person, so I don't drink a lot of soda, but whenever I want one, I have one. And what else? I will tell you, chocolate pudding stays the same color when it comes out. And the first time I ate chocolate pudding, I about had a heart attack because that change in color was so much darker, and the nurse was asking me what I had to eat whenever I called because I was scared. And I feel silly about it now, but yeah, she's like, that's chocolate pudding. What goes in must come out. And I felt pretty stupid about it, but anyway. So that's kind of the gist of what happened. I can go into detail more about diet. I can go into more detail about products. I can go into more detail about hospital life because I felt like I lived there for half of this last month. But that's the bulk. If you have any questions, comment below. I'm going to be doing more videos. I do start back working, so you know, it only took me a month to make this video, but I'll try to do better. I've always got the weekends and evenings, so, but it's good to be home. I feel good, other than figuring out what products work best and still being on a limited diet. I'm getting my strength back. I'm able to eat pretty good. I am not having any pain or issues, really. I'm starting to be able to sleep on my side again. I'm happy. I'm good. Life is good. I'm not going through the daily pain, the bloating, and everything else I was going through before. So I can't say this enough. I'm so glad I had that surgery. I'm going to do more content. I'll try to break it down by subject matter going forward, but I figured I kind of owed y'all who wanted to know or wanted information about what you might be going through, or maybe just to compare experiences, kind of a more in-depth reason of why it took me a month to do this. But as always, let me know if you have any questions or comments. I know I suck at doing YouTube. I know I look like a hot mess, but this is me. This is the real me. I'm still at home recovering, so I've worn makeup one time since surgery. Yeah, one time. And I'm kind of over it, just to be honest. Showering as often as I want to has been wonderful. Wonderful. It's a pain in the butt to kind of tape up to keep your bag dry. And really, a lot of the bags they'll dry off, or certain bags like, let's see, Coloplast's bags don't really feel wet if they get wet due to the material that's on the outside. But I have trouble with water getting just under the edge of the wafer, the sticky part that goes on your skin, and it tends to make it loose, and maybe it doesn't last as long as it could. So that's kind of a pain, but I will tell you, I've taken showers with nothing on. I've taken my bag off and cleaned off the adhesive, and it is very freeing. It feels good. You just have to be careful. You're not putting soap there. You're not letting water hit it directly. Water's not going to get back in, and water can run down your body over it. I still shampoo my hair and condition it like always. When I get out, I don't use my towel to dry off that part, of course, like I do the rest of my body. I use my supplies. Like I have, still from the hospital, and I've got to find something that will take its place. But they're these little, I don't know how to describe them. They're way thicker and bigger than tissues, but they're not like a full-on rag. They're still disposable, and they come in a pack, so they're clean. They're not just lying around. You don't toss them in the washer. You just throw them away once you're done with them. So I use those to pat dry and clean off, and then I do my process of, you know, prepping the skin, applying the wafer, putting on the bag. I prefer 2-piece, just so if something does happen to the bag, I can just pop on another bag instead of having to change the whole system, because your skin can get irritated if you're doing that a lot. But I am up to making 3 to 5 days on my bag changes, which is normal and good. I'm not trying to push it. If it looks like it's time, or I'm having some issues or something like that, then I change it. I definitely don't want to run into a situation where I have leaks, whether I'm sitting on my couch, laying in my bed, or the couple of times I have gone out and we've gone to pick up groceries or whatever. I just don't want to run into that issue. Now, I will tell you, all the companies, Convatec, Hollister, Coloplast, there's more, but those are the main 3 that I've been familiar with. They will all send you a welcome kit with a whole bunch of different samples and a whole bunch of different supplies, from barrier wipes to to adhesive remover wipes, which are probably my favorite product, stoma powder, scissors, guides, the bags themselves, the wafers, the paste, the rings, all those little different ways you can seal. I'm trying to think. There's a bunch of other stuff. Oh, deodorizing lubricant for your bag, lifesaver. I will tell you that I like Convatex and Coloplast a lot. I'm not as big of a fan of Hollister's. It's a better lubricant, so that if you do have thicker output, it'll drain like it's supposed to, but it doesn't do much for the smell. And the smell will knock you down, especially first thing in the morning whenever it hadn't been changed overnight. It's like, I'm awake now. But it's just part of it. And I would honestly say, other than the learning curve aspect, it's just something you do. You know, it becomes less of a, this is new, this is something I'm not totally familiar with, I'm not comfortable with. I can already say it's just more of a routine. It's still new, don't get me wrong, but what's the first thing you do when you get up in the mornings? You check your phone, go to the bathroom maybe, wash your face, brush your teeth, get breakfast, make coffee, whatever, empty your bag. It just becomes part of that. It's, you know, it's just, you know, I get up, get ready for work. Whenever I'm going back to work, I'm going to brush my hair, brush my teeth, wash my face, get dressed, take a shower if I didn't take a shower the night before, get my coffee. Yes, I drink coffee. I only drink 1 cup at a time now, though. I can normally drink almost a whole pot by myself, but I'm not doing that because it does make things go a little too quick through, and changes the color. I cannot stress that enough. Think about what you eat whenever you see something funky going on, whether it's a color or a consistency. I'll tell you one thing. The first time I had sesame seeds, I didn't even think about it. I didn't realize I'd eaten them. Like, I just wasn't paying attention. It's not that I didn't see them. It just did not register. I had Texas toast. And let me tell you, they don't digest. They come out as they went in the bag, and I about had a heart attack then. But it's all new. You're getting used to it. Learn to laugh at yourself. I have laughed at myself so many times, and just keep a positive attitude on it, and you're going to be fine. So, like and subscribe, comment down below if you would like to know more about something specific, or you just have in general questions or ways I can improve, because I am brand new at this. I know I suck at it, but I'm hoping to get better with time. But y'all be safe, have a great life, make good decisions, and be healthy. Make the right choices for you, because you're the one that has to live in your body. And everyone around you that loves you, your friends, your family, they just want to see you happy and healthy. Y'all take it easy.